welcome to episode 2 of Witness the Fitness podcast, a place where you're going to get fitness, health, nutrition and motivation. In today's episode, we've got a little bit of a Christmas special pretty much. In today's episode, I'm going to bring you live a workshop we did at the studio where we spoke to our members about setting up for Christmas, really, in terms of making the most out of nutrition, making the most out of Christmas so we don't go without. And we put together Seasons Eatings, a Christmas nutrition strategy workshop to help our members and you listening in to make sure they enjoy Christmas and not pile on the pounds. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Hope you enjoy the episode. Let's go.
It's time for Seasons Eatings, a Christmas nutrition strategy workshop. Let's go!
So welcome to Seasons Eating. The idea is you get an idea of the strategy and put a bit of a plan together by the end of it. So we're going to go through some bits and pieces. A lot of it are going to be like, yeah, I kind of know that. But we'll drum home the information and then we'll look at how to actually get through the whole Christmas period. You can actually enjoy it, not go without anything, but not pile on a load of weight, really. Obviously, this is quite open. There will be a lot of me talking, but if you've got any questions, seriously stop, digress, redirect. We'll do what we need to do, we'll cover what we need to cover, because at the end of the day, we want you to make sure that you enjoy Christmas and not get mega overweight. I asked this question on the members area the other day. Some of you already knew it. How many calories are consumed on average in the UK on Christmas Day alone? What did everyone guess?
6.5.
3,000, 6.5. 5,000. 5 to 6. So on average, it's between 6,000 and 7,000 calories that the average person in the UK consumes on the average person. Obviously, that is very dependent on individual by individual. A lot of people are shocked.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But do we think that's easy to do or not?
Yeah.
It's really easy to do, and we'll go through it today where we'll work out like it's really, really easy. How many calories do you think? I know Christmas Day is not really about calories, but it gives you an idea of how much food and drink that you're consuming. What do you think that you don't have to answer, obviously, unless you don't want to, but think about it. What's your Christmas Day consumption like? Would it be about average to the UK? Would it be more? Would it be less? You know, something to think about, because knowing where you historically have been or where you tend to go is part of the process. By the end of today, you know, success would be, I do normally eat 6,000 calories, but this year, I'm going to make it 4.5. Still not brilliant, but it's not 6,000 calories. I'm a work in progress, which is totally fine. We're not looking for you to, I normally have 6,000 calories on Christmas Day, and then all of a sudden, I'm just strict, harsh, and I hated Christmas, it was awful. We don't want that. It is about logical progression moving forwards. But we don't really need to say that 6,000 calories, 6,000 to 7,000 calories, is probably not great for your health, especially when we know where it's consuming from. So what does that mean for males, females, really? We know that on average, if you're an average size woman, so that would be about 5'6", anywhere between 60 and 70 kg, something like that. That's around 4 days worth of your calories. One day. I've got no idea how I put much weight on. Really, you don't know. And obviously for men, depending on the size and height and weight and stuff, it can be about 3 days worth of calories. So we know that really, if you're trying to eat well, that one day could absolutely scupper a whole host of, we'll just say, hard work and the things that you're building up. You know, a lot of you have been here a while, been doing amazing. What we don't want is to just throw it out the window because of one day, but we still want to enjoy it. Then we need to look at, calories aside, what's the nutritional content like? So when we're eating food, is it really serving 4 purposes? Now, I always bang on about these 4 purposes because in my eyes, they're really, really important. When you eat food from a nutritional context, there's 4 things that we need to talk about. One is always health. I want to eat food that's good for me. Weirdly, I will feel brilliant for it anyway. We've all been there where we'll eat certain foods or other foods that don't, and it's a bit of a counteract. Makes us feel good. There's 3 other things. Does anyone know what they are? So we've got health, weight management, don't want to gain weight, need to eat certain foods in certain orders. Performance, I don't want to feel lethargic, especially if I'm coming to train. I want to make sure that nutritionally I'm getting what my body needs to perform, and nutritionally what my body needs to recover from that performance. And the last one's pleasure. You can eat foods that are nice. So when we're looking at a Christmas day, when we look at nutrition, we should be covering all 4 of them as much as we can. Now that's not easy to do, and that does take time. But when you're picking choices, you know, the first one is always health. Let's try and make these as healthy as we can while we enjoy it. The second thing would be weight management. Let's not go crazy with the calories to make sure that I'm still on line with our kind of weight management goals. Obviously, you'll be training in and around it, hopefully. We don't want to do a track where I just stuff myself. And then the next 2 days, I'm just lethargic, I feel horrible about it. It's not what we're trying to do. And then I come into training and I've got that horrible sweaty feeling where I'm just trying to sweat all that stuff out and make it not great. And obviously pleasure, you can have foods that are nice.
Let's take a look at Christmas Day.
So there is an example of how easy it is to hit about 6,000 calories. So I'm going to break this down, and everyone's going to be a little bit different, I get it, and this is just an example. So you get up on Christmas Day. Kids have got your pearly for breakfast. You've had bacon sandwich, basically, maybe white bread, tiny bit of butter, 3 rations of bacon, and I had my coffee. But the chocolate tub was there, and I'm only going to take 3, but I can because it's Christmas Day, and I deserve it because chocolate for breakfast on Christmas Day apparently is fine. Overall, that bacon sandwich, the free chocolate, let's go quality streets, and the coffee with a bit of milk is just under 750 calories. Okay, calories aside, don't matter because it's Christmas Day. Nutritionally, let's go back to that point. Nutritionally, what is that doing for us? Let's just put them in combination because we know in isolation there's no really bad foods. But when we start putting stuff together, we start understanding that there is bad combinations of foods. So I've looked at my bacon. Is that a real good source of protein and meat? No, it's poor really. If you was to rank it, you would kind of go it's lower on the list. It's quite high in saturated fat, it's quite high in salt. And when we look at the chocolates, the same kind of thing, high in sugar, high in fat, not great. And then the coffee with the milk, it's stimulant, it's not really fueling my body well. So when we look at that choice, overall, not brilliant. Now that's not the end of the world really, because we've got 2 other meals that maybe I'll get this right. So you could have that, but it starts to put a little bit more onus on the rest of the meals, making sure they're in. But so far we've had 750 calories, and it's barely even, 9 o'clock maybe? I don't know, depends what time you got up. So we'll get to the dinner. We're gonna have a full Christmas dinner. All the trimmings. Now usually when we'll just say a Sunday dinner-esque, there is usually a high amount of fat in there, whether you're having roasties, the meat, other bits and pieces. So me saying a Christmas dinner is probably gonna hit 1,200 calories is quite easy to do. In some cases, your Christmas dinner, depending on exactly what you have, may be more, it may be less, but it's probably going to pitch around there. Now, while that was cooking and before I had time to eat it, I had a couple of mulled wines because it's Christmas, trying to enjoy myself. I had a start of a prawn cocktail because in our family, that's what a lot of our family, I don't touch it personally, but a lot of my family do, so I chucked that in there. Obviously, while I had my Christmas dinner, I had a glass of champagne because it's Christmas, don't forget. Enjoy myself, bit of sparkles. And then we had a little dessert with it. When I say little, that is a slice of chocolate cake, that was around 700 calories. So my mulled wine, my champagne, my little starter of prawn cocktail, my whole Christmas dinner, plus the nice chocolate dessert, I'm looking at around 2,500 calories. Again, not the end of the world, especially if I'm 6'1", really active, generally can burn. I might get away with that a little bit more. Some other people might not. If you're 5'2", maybe not so. So I've stuffed out, watching a bit of TV, and then a few hours later, what happens? Usually some family member, usually either my mum or my nonna, if she was ever still here, would come out and go, supper, tea, turkey baguette with some leftover turkey. I've had them just some crisps. I went for Pringles in this example, maybe a Scotch egg, maybe only a couple more alcoholic drinks, some chocolates while I was watching some crappy film that's on every single year. And then, do you want a piece of cheesecake? Oh, go on then. In all, just for that alone, you're around 2,200 calories. So overall, hitting 6,000 calories, because that's totaling 5,500, hitting 6,000 calories is dead easy. I mean, I must admit, my Christmas day isn't too much different from that. It's not. You know, you're going with family, there's choices made for you to a degree. You know, you've got some choices. I generally don't have that much alcohol. I'll have a few. There's some things that I won't eat anyway. I'll be leaning towards more of the kind of, you know, I won't be eating Scotch eggs and things like that. But to do it is dead easy. I mean, is anyone else's different, or does that kind of roughly resonate the same?
There's no cheese on that.
Okay, you know, cheese board, cheese and crackers. What's cheese generally? If we was to go nutrient, what nutrient does it fall in? It's fat. It's fat, so we know it's high calorie. Now that don't mean it's bad. We just know that there's a lot of calorie dense there. So if you had a cheese board in the end there, depending on the cheese and the amount, you're quite easily racking up. Let's say we had a little bit, you're probably going to rack up 300 calories quite comfortably, just a little bit with a bit of cracker. So, you know, we start to buffer that in. But like we said, calories are only one bit. There is quality of food again. So just like we did with the breakfast, let's look at the whole thing. So, like I said, there is no good or bad foods. I don't want you to look at any of these foods as good or bad. I want you to look at the combination and the fact that it's always giving us the same kind of thing. And when we combine it, it's not that good. So all of these foods alone, you know, if you want a slice of cheesecake, it ain't terrible for you. It's totally fine. It just needs to, like, how does this contribute? And there's different ways of looking at this. So when we look at all of it all, what's given us a lot of stuff that we generally don't need a lot of? And that's sugar, saturated fat, salt. We know that when we look through the list of the foods that we've eaten, it does give us quite a lot of that throughout the day, including the alcohol. It's pretty much just liquid sugar, so not great. And then we'll kind of go, okay, what about the other nutrients? Maybe a good amount of protein, you know, some healthier fats, some, you know, starchier carbs, you know, wholeness to it. There's not that much. And in my list, I can only really pick two, and some of it's a bit of a stretch. So the Christmas dinner, we could argue, it's a bit of a roundabout, and you can control what's on that plate a little bit more and make it more kind of nutrient dense in terms of get different nutrients on there. And the turkey salad baguette is pretty much the close enough thing to that. The other things, it's kind of, okay, we could probably do a little bit better. Now, some of these are repeaters as well. It's like more of the same. And this is where we need to look at it a little bit more and kind of go, could we do better with that and end up with this? And part of it is just remaining in control and making some disciplined choices. I've already said you can eat whatever you want, but that don't mean everything. You know, if you was to kind of talk about or give advice to a child, let's say, you know, your kid, would you let them do that? Chocolate for breakfast, chocolate for dinner, chocolate for lunch. I'm hoping you'd go no. Now, we probably know that there's some people in the world that will go yeah. And it's probably they'll say yeah because they will do that behaviour as well, and it's just like, it's what we do. But we know that's not good. If we was really caring about that person's health, then we wouldn't allow that to happen. What would you say? If that was a child and you wanted them to enjoy it, what would you say to them? Don't have it here because we're having it here. And that is one of the things that we can easily do. Do you need them free chocolates for breakfast knowing that I'm going to have some in a bit? No. Put the fuckers down then. Do I need 2 mulled wines while I'm waiting for my dinner, knowing that I'm going to have a glass of champagne with my dinner and I'm going to want some more? How about we just hang on that a little bit longer? Enjoy your dinner first. Have your first alcoholic drink with your dinner, and then later on enjoy it. All of a sudden, we've saved 400 calories. And now again, it's not about just the calories. I'm talking about nutrition, health. That's going to be a lot better for you just by staggering it out and deciding where I put this to enjoy it, rather than just enjoying it all the time. Now, if we serve this question, do you think the quality of you enjoying that food would be better if you saved it or you just had it all the time?
Saved it.
You saved it. We know this all the time. You know, every now and again when you have a piece of chocolate, how nice is it? It's nice, don't get me wrong. I'm being honest, it's really nice. You know, if you have it all the time, you just get dull to it. You just get dull to the sweetness. And actually we can enjoy, weirdly, this food a lot more if you moderated it and just put a bit of discipline with it. You would find yourself enjoying the food at Christmas potentially even more, which is a really positive thing, really. I'm going to eat what I want. I'm going to control it, and because I'm controlling it, I'll enjoy it more. So Christmas Day, let's be honest, one day doesn't matter, and it don't. You know, if I have one day of training, what does that do? Nothing. If I have one great day of eating, what does that do? Absolutely nothing. It's always about combination. So that gives us another pass again, just to kind of like stay in control, but just enjoy yourself. But this poses the next question. Is it one day? No, it's generally Christmas Day is a whole month, and this is where the real problem lies. Christmas Day is not the problem, because we can, like we said, that's going to be really easy to control. Do I want to hit 6,000 calories? No. Do I want to enjoy what we're doing? Yes, and we can manage that. But when we look at the build-up and the overindulgence that we fall into, it's a little bit of a trap. And this is the thing that we really need to address, not just Christmas Day. Christmas Day is easier. This is the problem. So you have a work night out, 3,000 calories, bit of food, eating out. If you're eating out, you're eating 1,000 calories no matter what you pick. Even if you pick a salad, it's going to be that much fat in there, oil in there. It's going to ramp up quickly. Plus your few alcoholic drinks, that's going to be really easy to do. A family night out, it's like the work night out, but just not as crazy. You're still hitting maybe 2,500 calories, which is quite conservative, if I'm honest. Then you've got another Christmas party where you went a bit wild, another 3,500 calories. Then you've got Christmas Eve where you had family round and you opened a tub of chocolate because you hadn't seen Auntie Pat in a whole year since last Christmas to talk about the same rubbish that we talked about then, plus a few sherries or whatever, and you hit another 3,500 calories. Then we went through Christmas Day. Then we had Boxing Day where I'm eating scraps, I'm still hitting the chocolate, I'm still doing this and this because go on, it's Christmas. And then a bit of a sabbatical away from it because that dead space in between, I tried bringing some normality in. But then New Year's rears its head where alcohol generally comes to the front again for the majority of people, not all. And New Year's Eve, 4,000 calories, and New Year's Day, depending on what you're doing, 3,000 calories. So in the space of 8 days over Christmas, spread out, the total consumption on that example is 27,800 calories. Now that might seem a lot, and it is, but we need to take away a BMR. So BMR is just what you burn for your body. So I used a little bit of an example around mine pretty much. So I take away 17,000 calories, because in them 8 days, that's what my body would need just to be me. I ain't gonna put on any weight, it's just like, this is my service need. So overall, it equals, sorry, that's not the BMR. Once I've took away my BMR, I'm left with 17,000 calories. Sorry, I mixed that up a bit. So that's around £6 of fat. Half a stone-ish, quite easily done. So in 8-ish days of we'll just say doing Christmas without any real forethought, just saying yes to stuff that is nice, you're going to put on a half a stone, potentially. How long will that take? Minimum of 6 weeks. When I say minimum, that's you actioning it, moving into deficit, eating well, eating in a calorie controlled way, doing a little bit of exercise. What's the chance of you starting to shift that over that period or moving into the few weeks after? I generally don't see it. People are slow to react because there's this come down and, oh, isn't it nice? And then it's usually by the time you get mid-Jan to late Jan, where the term go on Christmas, it's Christmas, just don't do it anymore. And you start to hear people talk about, oh, I'm this, that and the other, and they're kind of oblivious to the choices they made, and the way they feel mid-Jan is a reflection of this 8-day Christmas, we'll just say binge, overindulgence. So we don't want to fall into that. So we're going to look at ways that how we deal with it overall. Before I do that, actually, let's just talk about slowly putting it off. Now, what I've said isn't worst case. So worst case, I've done some numbers before. I've done some calculations before. If people are really just eat what they want, do what they want, they could quite easily put upwards of £10 on. And then if they're quite, I'll just say lazy for want of a better word, they're going to delay the start of, we'll just say, getting rid of that excess weight. So it is extreme, but it can be done. £10 of fat added. If that was the case, by the time they've actually actioned it, and I'm going to assume that by the end of Jan, they're going to go, let me get this off, it will take them at least up to April. So, this is how people gain weight over duration of time. A term I always say is compound interest. I'm glad Ruth brought it up, that that's pretty much Easter. That's the way we work. So, or the way I'm going to say manipulated. I'll bang on a load of weight because I'll be encouraged to eat and spend money. By the time I've maybe even made a little bit of dent, there's another thing they chuck up me. So the chocolate at Easter. And then by the time I've summer's come in, what kicks in? Barbecue season. And all of a sudden, high fat content from meat, alcohol from, family barbecues or whatever, bangs it on again. And then I get towards the end of summer, and then what starts rearing its head again? We've got other things like Halloween, bonfire night, and it just cycles round. And you get these poor choices because people aren't really conscious of the choices they're making. And they'll come to someone like me and they'll ask a perplexed question like, I don't know how I've put on this weight. And it's like, well, you've done it. People have all reasons for genetics and, this excuse, that excuse, and that ain't quite right, and, I don't like exercise. At the end of the day, whatever position you're in is pretty much your choice. We've got a lot of power that seemingly people just like to give up. And really the only way we're going to get hold of this is reclaiming the power and making sure that we make good decisions moving forwards. So we're going to look at how to enjoy Christmas and not gain weight, basically. You don't have to lose weight. It could be just get through it, enjoy what you're doing, and I'm exactly on the same square. That is massive success as far as I'm concerned. You can get through Christmas and lose weight. I've done it with people before. Do you have to be disciplined? Yes. Do you have to have a plan? Yes. Do you have to stick to it? Obviously. But it can be done. In all of my plans, do you think I'd ever go, don't eat that chocolate, don't have that Christmas dinner, no chance. What was the fourth point? Do you like them things? If it's yeah, then we'll keep it in, but we've got to make it fit, and that's the hard bit. But it can be done. So the way we do it is the 3 C's. The 3 C's are control, consistency, and Christmas spirit. And when I say Christmas spirit, I mean like proper Christmas spirit. I'm going old school deep, not new school, indulge, you deserve it, eat what you want, do what you... That ain't Christmas spirit. That's called gluttony as far as I'm concerned. When I was a kid, Christmas was a very, very different thing to what I see now. And that may be because I was a kid back then, I'm looking at it from a different angle, but my perspective from child to now adult, it ain't the same thing. So some of the things we're going to discuss are about bringing back that kind of, we'll just say old school approach a little bit more.
Strategy 1. Consistency.
So what do I mean by consistency? Keep to your normal routine. Christmas Day's a day. Now we already know there's 8 days, but we can control that. On the work night out, keep to your normal routine. What does that mean? Well, keep exercising. You know, if you train regular 3 to 5 times a week, I don't care if Christmas has reared its head. Keep training 3 to 5 times a week. It may change a little bit, and you might not be as regular as you was or are, but keep training. It's really helpful. Why? Because it helps set food plate, and you know, it's going to change what I put in my mouth and what I want to eat. It's going to help me sleep. I know when I sleep better, I'm going to make different food choices. Exercise is positive, so let's keep to the normal routine as much as possible. Keep your eating routine in place. Try not to let that get disturbed too much, because once it's disturbed, it's actually really hard to bring back. It takes time. And what I mean by eating routine, the time you have your breakfast, the time you have your dinner, the time you have your lunch and stuff, just within the hour or so, we're just going to keep my normal pattern even on potentially Christmas Day, give or take. It might not be perfect, but keep that routine. And same with the sleep pattern. All of a sudden, you may be wanting to stay up for whatever reason, because family around and this, that and the other. And I know it's not going to be perfect, but when we look at Christmas Day, it's not just Christmas Day, it's Christmas 8 days, Christmas week. Don't let your sleep pattern get disturbed too much. There's days where you go, time for bed. Why? Because that's what healthy people do. They sleep well, they prioritise it. So when I wake up the next day, I feel good, not sluggish. It's already hard enough as it is when we break that pattern. So consistency is about consistency of our everyday normal routine that we've been building up over the last few weeks, months, even years. It takes time and practice.
Strategy 2. Control.
Second C, control. So if you really want to take control, plan. If you don't plan, you're more likely going to react. Reaction generally leads to poor control. You're just going to be jumping and bounding and getting battered around. So you do need a little bit of a plan ahead in terms of what you're doing. Some of it is not celebrating too early. Now, some people will call me Scrooge, and I don't care. Some people will call me the Grinch, and I don't care. Because it's amazing how them people that would call me them names, when we get to about mid-Jan, late Jan, they're very much wanting my help. And it's making sure that we apply these. So, when I say don't celebrate too early, do you really need to go on the work night? If you do you really need to indulge the way you're going to, knowing that I've got another 4 nights? Do you have to every night? Does your ego need that? I don't know. Questions. Don't celebrate too early. Don't over-celebrate. That kind of crosses over into the same kind of thing. Don't celebrate too early. But it's also about, like, don't go wild. You know, everyone's been there. I've been there myself. You go on a works night out. I've had 3 beers. And then all of a sudden I'm like, yay! 5 more beers later, I'm in an absolute mess because I got carried away. You know, should I enjoy myself? Yeah. But I don't want to over-celebrate. Why? Because I'm going to pay a toll. And the moment I over-celebrate, it knocks on to the next day as I didn't sleep that well because I was hungover. I made poor, shitty food choices. Do you really think mid-Jan, you'll be looking back when you're a little bit like worse for wear, like, I've really not done well? You'll look at that day with a little bit of a different light to the when you was there. You probably will. So some of that is forward thinking. What does future me really need right now? Future me wants me to enjoy myself. Let me do that. Future me also doesn't want to detract from my goals and doesn't want me feeling like crap. And I'll make decisions based on that. Again, that comes down to, what kind of advice would you give to a kid? Apply it to yourself, because it'll be a loving, caring decision. That's it. Don't save your calories. This is a big one. This is one of the biggest mistakes I ever see. Do not save your calories. So that means don't miss your breakfast because I'm saving the calories for my dinner, my alcohol. It's bad. Because all that will happen, I'll get hungrier. As I get hungrier, there's a couple of things that will occur. One of the things is I'm going to change what I'm eating without any conscious thought. The moment I get really hungry, what am I going to start beelining for? High fat, high sugar, high calorie. Why? Because my blood sugar's low and I'm really, really hungry. Just trying to save calories, I'm going to make worse choices. Second thing, I've made worse choices and now the amount that I'm going to eat has gone up as well. Now if I just stick to my normal routine, have my normal breakfast, I get to my dinner, have some really nice dinner, I probably won't eat nowhere near as much. And do you know why it is? Because I'm like, I don't want it. Pete, do you want that extra slice of cheesecake? No. I'm really I'm full, I can't eat anymore. Why? Because I've kept to the regularity. I've not saved my calories, I've spread them out how I normally would. Now, if I go back to the example where I miss my breakfast, fucking starving, smash my dinner. Do you want another piece of cheesecake? Yep. That's the difference. How does the knock-on effect occur? Well, that's going to make it harder again, isn't it? So it's really important. You see a lot of people do it. Saving calories is not a good plan, not a good idea. The next one will save you money as well as your waistline. Don't buy more than that's needed. I can't tell you the times, and I'm different anyway because I'm really practical, and some people call me tight, and they're partly true because I don't like wasting money. It's hard to earn, so I don't waste it. So when usually Jodie, hopefully she won't listen to this, but she'll be like, we'll get that, and we're buying stuff for family just for options. They're coming around for food or whatever, and we'll get that. You know, you would. No. My head goes, we're going to buy that. If they don't want to eat that, tough. We'll let them know what's going to be there. I'm not wasting any more money. I'm also not buying more food that if it's in, what's going to happen eventually? I'm going to eat it. I'm going to buy 3 tubs of chocolates because just in case the family want to run through it, they go through 1 tub, you've got another 2 tubs, you're eating them. Why did you buy them? Don't want it. So don't go into the house and buy more than you actually need. That's where planning ahead. What do we need? How many people? Let's be a little bit more precise with what we're doing. I'll save money and I'll save on waistline. If you do buy more, get rid of it. Now people always go to me, well, I don't like wasting food. Well, you've wasted a load of money anyway. You know, maybe chuck it and learn the lesson, like don't buy as much shite next time. Learn the lesson. Don't use it as an excuse just to eat more poor food. You've already done one of the mistakes. I've bought more than I needed. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to consume it.
Give it to food bank. I was going to say
charity it. Give it a food bank. Get rid of it. Get it out the house. Why? Because if it's there, you're going to eat it. And when we already look at the food choices, what we talked about before, they're too much of the same. We're already eating high fat, high salt, high sugar, and you've got more of this stuff in. You need to get it out because I am going to consume it. It's the way it works. So the biggest thing about control is what we've already said is remembering that future me will not say, oh, go on, it's Christmas. In a few weeks, few months' time, when it's really difficult and you're not feeling happy with the reflection in the mirror. And actually, I'm really not happy with the way them clothes fit. These are real discussions. This is what goes through people's head. They look at themselves in the mirror, and we have all got a level of body dysmorphia. It's at different levels, but our self-esteem and our confidence partly is linked to the way we see ourselves. And if you don't like what you see, you won't feel very good. Now, you might feel good at the time, but just going, actually, no. Go on then, it's Christmas is not a good excuse, and I want control overall.
Strategy 3. Christmas spirit.
And then Christmas spirit. So let's go back to what we were saying a little bit more old school. Christmas is not about overindulging. Everything you've seen right now, I'm sad and I make a mental note of like what ads tell me. All ads tell me right now is eat, 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 eat. Why? Why are we eating at the moment? One of the weirdest things ever is we've had an obesity epidemic for the last 15 years. 15 years ago, we had about 40% of our population. We're around 65% now. Now they always go, well, they measure BMI and BMI is not accurate. No, it's not a brilliant accurate measure. But when you look at people, I'm just going to do eyeball test. Is their belly wider than their hips? If it is, they're not in a good position health-wise. And yes, they're carrying too much fat and need to get rid of it for their own health. And then all we get to Christmas and what's drummed it is buy, eat, 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 eat. That's all you see. So partly is recognising that message. Because when you don't, you're going to fall foul of it. Right now, I'm hoping every message you see, you'll start to see it now I've kind of pointed out. It's like when you buy a new car. You think no one's got it until you bought it, you're conscious of it, and then you see it all the time. The fact that I've pointed it out now, you're going to see it all the time because it's drummed into us. So don't let supermarkets, businesses just keep selling crap to that you don't need, including overall food. That being said, I want you to set aside some things that you enjoy. So take a moment right now. Now there's some things that weirdly, food and drink, that signify Christmas to me because they're historical or they're kind of family orientated or I've got experience with them, and just creating this experience for myself I really enjoy. Now that is Christmas spirit to me, and that's what we should do. Not just eat everything in sight, not having every piece of chocolate every time it's offered to me, but maybe having that, I don't know, alcoholic drink with a certain family member at a certain time while you're watching something certain. Great. Plan that in. I know it sounds boring, but like I'm going to do that and then I'll work around that.
It's tradition, isn't it? It's
yes.
about tradition.
Yeah. And it's applying it. And I'll guarantee you, when you do that successfully, you won't overindulge, you won't put on weight, you won't eat loads and loads of calories, and you won't feel like you've missed out on anything because you've probably done the most significant things and it's just worked for you. So do eat the nice foods, just put a little bit of forethought into it and get the best out of it. Overall, have some time before Christmas sticks in to think about what you and your family want out of Christmas. Like, what is it truly? How do you want it to operate and work? Things don't happen by accident. If you really want it healthy, really want it enjoyed, just with talking to some people going, this is what I'm doing, this is how I want to do it, you'll be surprised how different your food plate looks and how much you consume or not changes just by having a little bit of a plan and discussion with your family, your loved ones, whoever it may be, as well as yourself. Like, what do I want out of this? When am I going to celebrate? And then apply it. Some people will argue, oh, it's forced fun. It's not. It's calculated. I'm going to enjoy it on my terms overall. I'm not going to let other things dictate it. Usually society and business dictate that what I should and shouldn't do overall, because I already know that they just want my money, please. You see that overall with, my biggest examples, tubs of chocolate. When were the Christmas tubs of chocolate in supermarkets? When were they in? September time. Where were they? You walk in. Were they on offer? Yes. They were super cheap. So in September, you walked in, you was already gone, Christmas is coming. They didn't tell you, but it was there and everyone knew it. And then there's some people that fall into the trap because they go, it's £3 a tub. Let me get 2. I'll put them away. Halloween, bonfire, a random weekend, them 2 tubs are gone. Oh, I'll get some more. You go in, you get another 2 tubs. What's the price like? It's gone up a couple of quid, maybe a quid, maybe they're £4 now. I'll buy another 2. I have another one. Before I know it, I used the other one on, I don't know, start of December. Some family come round and opened it out. I've gone through 4 tubs. I'll go in again because I need one for Christmas Day and Boxing Day, let's say, because I've got some stuff going off. They're now not on offer. They're now like £5 or £6 a tub. You needed 2 tubs. You was mentally weak at the start. You fell into the peer pressure that the businesses gave you. How much money have you spent on 6 tubs of chocolate? Let's say they're £6 there, £6 there, there's £12, plus another 8, there's 20, plus the other 3, £6, there's £26. And you could have got away with just leave them on the fucking shelf. Buy them when they're not on offer. Cost you £12, I've saved you £12. You're welcome. And you've not gained a load of weight. You haven't bought any. They're not on offer. It's cheap crap. They're nice to hand out to family with whatever. Save yourself money. Don't buy the offer. Just buy them when you need them for when you want them. That's where that kind of planning comes in. That's where not getting pulled in by the businesses, getting pulled in by society. Go on, it's Christmas. Go on, it's Christmas. It's not a good plan. Overall, when it comes to Christmas spirit, and you're applying reason to yourself, that's the line I want you to remember. What would you say to a loved one that you wanted the best for? You wanted them to enjoy themselves, but you didn't want them to overindulge because you know deep down it wasn't in line with their values and their goals, what they hold. And you know that I'm doing this because in 3 weeks' time, you won't be happy with this choice. What would you say to that individual? Apply it to yourself. You've got a friend, family member, child, whoever. You want them to enjoy themselves. You don't want them to overindulge. What advice would you give them? I will guarantee whatever advice you give them is great advice. Apply it yourself. Really easy. So the 3 C's will help you get in control. Consistency, control, Christmas spirit. So you don't have to write it, you can think it. What are some of the things that you may need to do in line with them 3 things, the 3 C's, to really make the most of? Is there one of them 3 C's that really punches forward? If I'm honest, you doing all of that, what I've just said, is really difficult. Talking about it, dead easy. You know, when you're in the moment, you need practice, you need resilience, you need discipline. You know, I am quite easily, you know, if I've got family, a lot of my family try peer pressuring me, and society does. Have another. I'm quite easy to kind of go, no. And my ego has got no worries kind of offending someone. I'm like, I won't bow to pressure. It's not always that easy though. I've seen some people fall foul of it. And maybe not putting yourself in certain situations and different bits, but this is where an action plan comes in. And part of it is trying to stick to your guns, but doing it all hard.
Let's talk Christmas action plans.
So what do you think? What one thing or one of the C's is important for you to apply, and how are you going to apply it?
Consistency for me.
Okay, why have you gone with that one?
So there's a lot of distractions during December. You've got, like you say, you've got work to do, you've got a family outing, you might have a Secret Santa lunch. So there's a lot of distractions, so it's keeping to a routine. Good.
How do you think you'll apply that? What might help?
I've already sort of planned out what we're doing each week in December, and then so I'm out with friends on Friday and talking about peer pressure. I'm going to drive because I don't want to drink. I don't drink as much as I used to. They all do. So I'm going to drive because we've got a busy day Saturday and I want to enjoy it. And that.
Perfect.
And I don't want a late night because we're up early Saturday. So yeah, it's just like each individual date that we've got something on, just planning for that and like go food shopping as well. Try and write a shopping list now stick with that when we go food shopping before Christmas and not get distracted by the gondola ends with all the offers and the 3 for 2s and the save and blah, blah, blah.
So,
Oh, I'll grab that, I'll have that, or that'll do for Aunt Maud or whatever.
perfect. Have some relevant excuses in place. They're not excuses, it's just, it removes some of the social battering that you may get. And driving's a perfect example of that. The shopping list is a different thing, so having a plan and going in and writing a list is really important. One thing to always back that up, or it's two things really. Don't go in hungry, you're going to make different choices. And go in with what I've said earlier. What are they trying to do the moment I walk in a supermarket? Sell me stuff. What are they trying to do? They're trying to send me down certain aisles. They've got all these tricks and different bits and pieces that will make me spend more than I need to. Going in there with that mindset of like, watch out for the traps, will help you make better choices, because you won't necessarily just like, oh, I just want a bit of that. So it's really important that while you've got this plan, you've got this list, you'll be surprised how much that list will change or get chucked the moment you're hungry, or you see that, oh, ain't that a good offer, ain't that a good offer? And it's like, forget it, stick to the list. You'll stick to the list easier if you're not hungry.
I think control's one for me, and I haven't really got an action plan yet, but so Christmas dinner is generally cooked by me, and we host Christmas, we don't have a big family, so it's not like loads and loads of people coming around and eating loads of stuff. But for me, it's because when I'm cooking, everyone's out the kitchen, no one's allowed in the kitchen, and I'll like have a couple of drinks and I'll like pick, so it's like having a bit of a plan to not pick whilst I'm cooking Christmas dinner.
First question, when you're cooking Christmas dinner, would you have had your breakfast before you started cooking?
I don't have breakfast on Christmas Day.
So the fact that you're cooking and you're around food and not already eaten, guess what? It's going to be impossible not to do? Eat.
Yeah.
So how'd you get around that?
Eat. Breakfast.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So the fact now, I know the fact that every single one of you has probably had a stomach turn or felt hungry or got a bit of saliva in your mouth right now. Why? Because we've been talking about food. Why does that occur? Your brain is hardwired to your stomach. The moment you talk about, smell, see food, your body switches on your stomach and goes, produce some bile, this person may eat. And then all of a sudden, how am I going to feel? I need to eat. And even if I don't, how can we correct that? Having already eaten. Because I can smell food, but my body goes, but your blood sugar's still high. We don't need to eat. Even though I'm like, oh, that smells good. Yeah? Part of it is setting yourself up for success. That's another example of that is like the people that, let's say they're trying not to eat chocolate. Their plan is then go, don't eat chocolate. It's stupid. You're going to fail. You're going to fail. Because I know that the reason why I'm eating chocolate is generally because I'm hungry. And it's at this point I want to eat it. And because my blood sugar's low and I'm not actually eating enough for what my body needs, it's going, eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. Where I guarantee if the plan of action to stop eating the chocolate was to create the consistency, have a breakfast, have your lunch, have a healthy snack, then when I offer that chocolate, you'll make a decision. You won't react. You'll make a decision and I guarantee it will be like, no, I'm all right. Oh, go on, just a little bit, and that's all it will be, not the whole thing. So when you're looking at that, now you may need some practice because you need to build routine and consistency overall, but I would assume the reason why you're picking away, you won't be able to just switch it off because you will be hungry and you'll be around food and your body's kind of like, we haven't had anything to eat, you know.
Yeah, and drinking as well. If you're having a drink whilst you're cooking, that makes you kind of want to eat.
Yeah, it makes you loose, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So what will drinking alcohol do to your blood sugar? Up and down, up and down, up and down. And what you're going to do on the downs, you're going to want to eat more or consume more alcohol. It's a negative cycle that you then have to break. But again, being aware of it, as frustrating as it can be, because you know sometimes being aware it's hard to then fix, but it's impossible to fix if you're completely oblivious to it. Anybody else?
control would have been my one.
What would you be controlling, John?
Not eat chocolate. What, you round someone else's house, so you've got no control of that. Or go round George's mum's house.
Oh, she feed her.
No, but there'll be a jar of chocolate there. Like quality streets. I'm in it anyway, every time I go round. I'll go straight there. I won't even say hello.
Oh, I love that.
I will.
It'll just be a quick one. Well, I bet you the only time you say hello is when the jar's empty or there's not the ones that you want. All right, well, where's the... So how do you think that might be a way to control that?
Not have it there.
That might be one thing. You're not in control of that because it's someone else's house.
Pardon?
So if you're at someone else's house, that might be hard to do, as in not have it there. Another thing is habit formation. Right? There's going to be part of it. Answer this. Every time you've had that chocolate, has it tasted nice and you kind of like, I wanted that. You don't. You eat and go, why did I do that? So you're not eating it all the time because you're either hungry or you fancy it. You're doing it because you walk in there, you'll have this mode. We're all weirdly a bit like robots. And you will go through set patterns. I'll guarantee you'll do the same in here. You'll have an order of doing things and you'll practice it, and you'll just do it automatically. So every time you go into Jules' mum's house, you need to break the routine that you've got. Now this might sound really weird, but that might start with how you walk in through the door, where you walk in, how you walk in, what you say hello and what you do. But it's being conscious to break the habit to one you want. So it then doesn't end up with you being at this bowl of chocolate. Is it easy to do? Nope. But can you do it? Yes.
Just got visions of you like going towards the bowl, picking it up and like launching it.
What's another thing you could do?
Not in that room.
Invite her around to yours.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Don't then put her ass where the chocolate's not.
Yeah. Could you ask her to
It's
like...
going to be hard. It's good. I don't smoke now, so that's going to be... But yeah, it's just about changing mindset.
Go on, Rox. What?
So could you like have a word with her beforehand and say, like, I find it really hard to resist these. Can you keep them in the kitchen or something like that?
Maybe, yeah.
Keep some dark chocolate in your pocket.
Just going to have to be strong.
Walk in with a mint in your mouth and then you won't.
Oh, I like that.
Maybe, yeah. Tic Tac.
There's more of an aggressive way. So you could look at changing behavioural, and what we could use is negative reinforcement. Jules will love this idea. Every time you pick up a chocolate and go to eat at her mum's, she punches you in the face. What will happen over time, you'll start to associate that. This is true, by the way. Yeah, Pavlov. You will go, no. You will start to experience pain without experiencing pain. There'll be, it's more extreme, I get that, but I'm sure if Jules wanted to, we could go to that line. If you're really struggling to maintain control of the chocolate, negative reinforcement. Can't mind saving that for Steve. Steve goes, he won't even know what's hitting. Goes to eat a chocolate. Anybody else?
I think it's about avoiding the middle aisles in the supermarket. No one spoke about it. All the middle aisles are biscuits, chocolate, rubbish. So I reckon if I just dodge all that and just get... Because nobody wants them biscuits when you bring them out. Nobody wants them.
No, you're true actually. There's always...
Cake. They all look at it and go, oh, go on then, like it's a chore. So why am I buying it for forcing it people? Because nobody really wants it.
I totally agree. When you go into supermarkets, the supermarkets obviously are really sneaky. And I want you to be aware of some of the tactics they use, because they're ingenious. And they've spent a lot of money, I'm talking like a lot, on like psychology of like, what do humans do when they have this? And they'll then style their store. But being aware of it will help you navigate the supermarket a little bit more. One thing they do is called a leading loser. So at the end of an aisle, there's stuff where the offer will be like, that's crazy cheap. And they'll actually be losing money on it. And it's usually crap. So at the end of this aisle, oh my God, that's a bargain. As I pick it in and put it into my basket, I'm going to go down one of these 2 aisles where it's at. That's going to happen. And I walk down there, and that's where all the stuff is, where I'll go bam, and then they're making money because that's the overpriced stuff as such, or the bigger kind of profit margins on. I'll pick up something that they'll lose money on, knowing that it sends me down an aisle that I'll then pick on that then makes them more money. And weirdly, they won't lose money from that one element.
Yeah, there was other about that on the radio too.
They do it all the time. I heard it in the news today, and part of me just rolled my eyes. You know, when they was talking about brands are more expensive and how they're ripping people off. How is this news? How is this news? Right? Do you think that a tin of Tesco beans versus a tin of Heinz beans is any harder for Heinz to make? But it's more expensive. I know they used baby formula, didn't they? That's one of the things. Same again. When you go and get some home brand, do you really think it's different? It's the same stuff.
It's normally from the same manufacturer.
It is. And the fact that they've obviously creaming more than they usually cream. They've obviously making a lot more money off it, and they've put their thresholds up even more. But the amount of money they make off it compared to its counterpart is ridiculous anyway. This is not new news. You know, why do we buy it? Why do we buy brands? Why do we buy clothing that's got a little? I can guarantee it comes out of the same warehouse. It's the same principle, and that will save you money so much. As you go into that supermarket, next thing is, what do we pick up? Eyeline. There's loads of research to it. Coke did one where one of the reasons why Coke's give out fridges, so to any like shops and stuff, they'll give out fridges, and there was one condition: you can have this fridge, but we want Coke on the middle aisle. It has to be there, it's part of the contract. So they did. Guess what happens to Coke sales? Massive, goes up. Because on Eyeline, they've done research where they go, let's replace what's ever on the middle for water, and let's see what happens to bottled water sales. Guess what it did? It went up, because we see and we want. So being aware of that, when you go down the supermarket aisles, just have a look what's in the middle aisle, like the middle of the shelving, on your eye line. It's all the expensive stuff. What I want you to do is look up and look down. It'll be all the cheaper stuff. The same stuff, cheaper. You know, when you look at Heinz beans, it's here. When you look at Tesco beans, it's here. Why? Because they make more profit margin off that. Rice, go down the rice aisle. Look at the middle bit. So all the branded stuff, all the nice stuff, nicely packaged. Look down there. Near your feet. It's all the cheap stuff. It's exactly the same. So being aware of that. Now, when you get good at that, guess what the supermarkets then do? They try and reset you. How do they reset you?
They move stuff around.
Bam. So I've got really good, and I'm really good at this. I'll go there, out. And then there'll be a day where I walk in with this plan. And the bastards, I've gone, oh my God, where am I? And then all of a sudden I start scanning. And then all of a sudden I go, oh, look at that, it's a fucking bargain. And I fell into the trap again. So even when I get good at it, they've got ways of resetting me. So I know that's a long way to answer your question, Pippa, but honestly, these supermarkets, you have to go in super conscious of what you're in there for. Because if you don't, it'll end up back at your house. You've bought way more than you needed. You're eating more than you needed.
Nobody else to eat.
That's why if you do your online shop, you buy what you need. Rather than
Online might be the way.
Oh, I like.
I'm a bit of a one when I go, what? I'd have never picked this one. It's going off today, tomorrow.
M&S get me 3 for 2, and you're like, oh, this party food, that gets me every time. And I'm like, oh, what? I picked 2 items, and I'm like looking, what third item, just because it's 3 for 2. And then
3 for 2 does not save you money.
no, I know, I just get
Because you will go in there, you probably just need 1.
Yeah.
But then you'll get convinced in some way, or you're making it rational in your own head.
I'm having like a full-on debate with myself. Yeah.
I might as well get 2, because then I'll get a 3rd one, and we'll, you know, that party and this, that and the other, and then bam, I've eaten 2 before that night. Right, so do think about having an action plan. You won't be able to work on it all. Put some good things in play. Think about the Christmas week overall. Put aside some stuff that you want to enjoy. Make sure that happens. The other things, you're going to have a level of, the want of a better word, adulting yourself. Perfect. It's called discipline. A lot of people scoff the nose. A lot of people call you boring for doing it. Party pooper, all this. But at the end of the day, Christmas is a day. And I'll guarantee those people that overindulge mid-Jan probably won't be that happy with the condition that they're in. That is the end of the workshop. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you find it useful. In the next episode, we're going to be revisiting some of the stuff that we talked about in episode 1. And if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out. And obviously send me any questions, queries, comments through to me. Other than that, I'll see you on the next episode. Have a great Christmas. Let's go.